It's been a while since I've recorded a structured sort of video, and I have notes, and I hope that I can do this video justice because it's been a while since I've done something. And if you don't like the audio quality, please know that I am waiting to get a new phone. I'm waiting to be able to get a new phone. So I'm just gonna pretend like it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay. Alright, so this is a video basically about dating and like advice for dating as an awakened being or like someone who's more enlightened. Now, I'm not currently dating anyone technically. I could tell you some stories about how technically I am dating someone, but like for the sake of my own mental health, I'm not dating anyone. And one thing that I wrote, also there is an in-depth version of this on Patreon, so if you want to check that out there, you can check that out. But one thing I wrote was that everyone's path is different, and I can tell you all the things that work for me, all the things that have worked in my experience, but like at the end of the day, you have to be able to figure out what works for you. So that's something to be said. And another thing, I know we're talking about dating, but I think that children should be taken way more seriously than they are. Like, I don't think you should be just having children just to have children. Like, you should be very particular about who you partner up with and have children with. Now, mind you, I don't have children yet. I don't have children. But as a person who has been a child, I think it's very important that we take children more seriously. Like, I have to refrain from like judgmental comments, but I think it's like such a silly thing to do. I think it's so like irresponsible for someone to just have a child just because they can, rather than like thinking it through and like planning things. You know, Planned Parenthood is a thing. Don't ask me anything about them as an organization though. But yeah, I think children should be taken way more seriously. Because it's literally the future. It's literally future adults, future people who are going to rule the planet. And it's like, if you're not careful, you'll create some really fucked up individuals. And I could have turned out really fucked up. And I still had a really decent situation. But like, trauma is a lifelong thing. You know what I mean? Another thing, be careful about dating for fun. Because just as well as like children should be taken seriously, I think emotions should be taken seriously, like the emotions of other adults. Because when you get into like romance and like dating, people get really like watery and like emotional, and like sometimes it irritates me. But I've been on the other side. I've been emotional and like super like, I love you, don't leave me. Yeah, I've been there. I get it. But like, basically what I'm saying is that like dating just for funsies, just to see what happens, is really tricky business. Because yeah, sure, it could go well, but it could also go really terribly. And originally, according to a certain version of history, marriage started out as like a business thing. Like it was like two families joining so that they could like continue a sort of business, you know, like joint assets and whatnot. And like somewhere along the line that changed. Once again, I say according to a certain version of history because history is really weird when you really think about it. Like there's so many different versions of history. Like there's a biblical history. There, like it's wild when you get into history. And I'm not a history buff. I never really cared for history, but it's interesting. Anyways, I think it's really important. I'm skipping. Technically, it's out of order, but I think it's really important to seek out other people who are enlightened and to seek out other people who are awakened, if you will, because when you, how do I say this? Once again, trying to not be judgmental, I think that people who are not awake I say this? I'm trying to say this in the best way. Can be very gullible, and anybody can be gullible. Anybody can be tricked on this planet. Like, that's just a way of the world. But when you know in your heart of hearts that you are smarter than someone, that you are more enlightened than someone, then the onus is on you to be the responsible one. And I've been in relationships where I've been the smarter one, and I did not take that responsibility very well. I, it's not funny. I shouldn't be laughing, but it's kind of funny to think about because I've fucked up some people, and I trust in the process. I trust in the idea that like it's not your sole responsibility to take care of another person. Like, even if it is your responsibility on whatever level, they still have to do what they do with themselves, with their body, with their mind. And so, how do I say this? Let's say there's two people in a relationship, and one of them is doing really well in life, and the other one not so much. But they love each other, so they're like, let's try to make something work. And the person who's doing well likes to like stoop down to the level of the other person. Let's add another factor. Let's say that both of these people do drugs, and that's a thing. But one of them is doing really well, and the other one is not. And the one who does really well likes to encourage the other one to do drugs and like to just do whatever. And it's like philosophy. Whoa, I don't know why I was about to say it like that. Philosophy says that there is no right or wrong, and morality is very gray, sure. But like, if you truly care about someone and you're like actively encouraging them to like not do better, do you really love them in a healthy way? You know what I mean? Once again, philosophy. But yeah, I think it's really important to seek out other people on your level. Another thing, um, unconditional / agape love. This is a very tricky subject. It's a very like out there subject, honestly. But I think it's really necessary for a person to like have a universal love before they like get into like a one-on-one relationship. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, if you don't know how to love people just generally, oh, I don't want to say it like that, but like it makes for a better relationship when you know how to love everyone. You know what I mean? Like, because love is not just a feeling, it's an action. You know what I mean? It is also a feeling, but it's also an action. It's a thought. It's energy. You know what I mean? And if you don't know how to do that for anybody but your romantic partner, then you might want to learn how to do that. But like I said at the beginning, everyone's path is different. Everyone is different. So know what is good for you. Don't take this and run with it. And as I say that, another factor, clear communication is really necessary. Like, if you're not able to communicate your needs, wants, and desires with your partner, then you might as well not be in a relationship. I was talking with someone the other day, I was talking with a roommate, and they were telling me about how their girlfriend doesn't really communicate properly with them. And I was like, jokingly, like, maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship with them then. Because, if they're disappearing and not telling you why, and then just like making things complicated, then like that's an unnecessary stress, and that person needs to work on themselves. And you can choose to look at it however you want to look at it. It's free will is awesome, but like part of the human experience, in my opinion, is learning how to be a better human, learning how to be a better being. You know what I mean? So clear communication is really necessary, and if someone is not giving that to you, you should really consider their place in your life. And then as a final, we have knowing what you want. is really necessary. Like, if you don't know what you want, how can you even communicate what you want? So it kind of goes hand in hand with communication, but like generally, like you should know what you want out of a relationship, out of a connection. And this is something that I've struggled with before because I've dated for fun. I've I used to be a lover boy. I used to just like whatever, just go with the wind. But like you have to know what you want. If it's dating for fun, okay, sure, but know that that's what your intention is. You know, don't go into a serious relationship thinking it's just for fun and then get mad that it doesn't end the way that you want, or vice versa. You know, going into a fun connection looking for something serious and then getting mad because it doesn't turn out serious. It's like that's you weren't clear in your intentions. So like know what you want and have clear intentions. And if you have anything that you want to add, if you found this useful, if you anything, let me know in the comments. Hit me up. My email should be available soon. I'm redoing certain things. I'm like in the middle of a rebrand, so excuse that. I don't know how that's gonna look, but I am in the middle of a rebrand. So if you wanna check out my Patreon and become a member of my Patreon, so help support me there, you can do that. If not, no hard feelings, but it is there. And I thank you for being here, if I can say that. And yeah, good luck, lovers.